Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Break It Down for Brackens podcast. Today, it is my honor to have Mario Wisdom with me. Mario is a business coach with Crystel Clear Business. He's from Strasburg, Virginia. Mario, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Kev. I'm excited, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm really pumped that we kind of narrowed down what content we wanted to talk about. I think it's going to be really stellar. We're going to go with business coaching, but first, let's talk about your background. Where'd you come from? How did this all come about?
Okay. So I was born in Jamaica. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, St. Catherine. So Wagwan out there to my Jamaican family. Moved to Florida, came to the United States when I was about 3 years old. Lived there for a little bit, and then I basically was raised in Frederick, Virginia. And then Shenandoah University brought me up to the Winchester area. I was a pretty good running back in high school, too. 1,600 yards, 17 touchdowns, all area.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty good. I'm not going to toot my own horn. Then, I was pretty decent in college as well. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So, tell me about hobbies. Do you play sports after college? What do you do outside professionalism?
So I don't play any sports now, but I do have a men's workout group. They're called F3, stands for Faith, Fellowship, and Fitness. One day I need to have you out there.
Yeah, sure.
I know that you did some running and did all that kind of stuff, so I know that you probably like that. Men's workout group. We meet every Saturday. It doesn't matter if it's rain, shine. So there's like 4 goals, I'll say, for F3. 1 is always outside, no matter what. 2, it always ends in a circle of trust. So we all gather around together, talk about problems that us as men are facing, and see if we're just like a brotherhood. 3 is always peer-led. So one member in the group is always leading the charge. And then 4... can't remember the 4th one right now.
Well, let's talk about the group led. That's interesting. So, if you have like 8 people every week on a Saturday, like they know when they're in the rotation.
Yeah. So you know ahead of time, and the groups got way big, as in 40 people max. That's at great. one spot.
That's really good. It always feels good when you build a community like that. I did that with the club Bros and Bras. It's approaching its 10th year, I think. That it's still alive and active, and our biggest, I think, was 55 people at one event, and that was when we were like at our max growth. We hit so many people that affiliated with the club, but the energy of seeing people work together, struggle together, come together as friends that never would have met each other most likely otherwise. It's really nice building community. I get that feeling. Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly with that. Like to be honest, it reminds me of a football team, because that's the same environment. You practice is hard. Everybody bonds. Then you have the games where, of course, you want to win, and then everybody rejoices. So yeah.
But I think it's neat that you not so much allow, but part of your vision there for the workout group is that everybody gets a turn to lead. Give me an example of what one of those workouts that was put together by the participants looks like.
Oh, so I'll give you an example of when I did it. So, because of my football background, and so like it's from ages 16 to, I'll say, 55. So you have a whole lot of people. So for my time when I led it, I made sure that we did like a football workout. So we had our little agility drills where we're running through the ladders. I made PVC pipes. So we held them up, and then we drop them, and you have to test your reaction speed. And then we had a whole backyard football game at the end of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it just goes to your imagination. So whatever you think of, that's what the group would do.
Nice. What other hobbies do you have?
Work. I love the Word of God. I'm in that at least once a day, I would say, especially if I'm feeling down. Okay. God is an important part of my life.
Does that mean going to church?
That means going to church. That means reading, following the commandments, just being a good overall human being as well. Mm-hmm.
I try to be a good human being also. Do me a favor, pull the microphone just down and a little bit closer.
Right here.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
That'll just help me with sound. All right, good. So, at what point did you become interested in coaching or mentoring or helping people improve, whether it's their life or business?
So, to be honest, I kind of fell into coaching. So, college, so I didn't end up finishing. I went all 4 years, and then I guess I went through my spiritual journey, as people can call it. And I was just going through a rough patch. And then at the end of college, I had an internship with a credit restoration company. And that didn't work out. I was struggling to make ends meet. My girlfriend, she was paying for everything. My mother and my friends, they was worried about me. Just life at that moment was just hard in general. And then I guess that's what kind of fully sparked my journey into God, to knowing that there's a higher purpose out there. But so I went 2 years in the credit restoration thing, and like I said, it wasn't working out. And then I ended up meeting a lady. It's one of those I kind of remember the day vividly, to be honest. It was one of those days where I knew I had to go out networking. And I didn't want to go out, like, why am I even doing this? So I looked up networking events on Eventbrite. And then, boom, pitch night pops up. And this Crystel Smith, the owner of Crystal Clear that I work for now, her event popped up. And so I was debating if I should go to this event or not. And something in me just said, Mario, you got to go to this. So I end up going. And then Crystal's is there, and another guy named JF, two great people. And I walk into the thing, and then, of course, I'm offering my help. And from there, she invites me to her BNI. And I was in her BNI for about a year.
What's BNI?
Business Network International. So it was like a lead share group. You go there, you can pass business to other business owners.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was in that for a year, and like I said, it didn't work out. And Crystal, she saw something in me. I always had the tendency to give. I always try and give because I feel like that's how things come back to you, and that's how you receive. And then she approached me. She was like, Mario, would you be open to being a business coach? Like, you have the personality, you like to help. It seems like you basically have a good head on your shoulders and things like that. So she started coaching me up, teaching me how to be a business coach, and teaching me everything that I know. So like I said, I just fell into it, and I'm blessed, to be honest.
So at that point, it was almost like a job or an opportunity.
It was an opportunity for sure.
And then now, what's it feel like?
It's still an opportunity, to be honest. Yeah, because
from what I know about you, I'd almost call it a calling.
I think so too. For where I want to go in life, like, I am a person that believes that you don't have to stay who you are. Like, for example, like, and I'm not, how can I put this? The environment that I was in before, we did the same thing every single day, and you just expected that to be your environment moving forward. Then I went to Shenandoah, and then my environment changed. Then I started joining clubs and being more active. And then I started realizing that's when it was my sophomore year of college, actually, is when the switch flipped. And it was like, Mario, you could be greatness. Like, you can go on to achieve anything that you want. And from that moment on is when I started.
Can you remember what sparked that?
Oh, yeah. There was a guy named James. And I remember this vividly, too. So my freshman year of college, James used to play football with us, and we played football together. And sophomore year, he disappeared. And then I'm like, James, like, why are you not playing football no more? He's like, hey, my dad got on me. I got to get on my grades, or he's not going to pay for my school no more. And the next minute, I see James walking around with the president and with teachers and things like that. I'm not really paying any attention to it. Then my second year, my second semester sophomore year, James is on pictures. I'm like, what is this man doing right now? So I'm like, he inspired me. Inspiration comes from different places.
So he took a hold of opportunity and direction, and inspired by his parents, which means get your head out of your butt and get your grades back up. And here are some steps you should take. So you saw that happening with him.
Yeah, and so like I used him as a model. He joined. So I was the president of Alpha Kappa Psi as well, which was a business fraternity at Shenandoah University. So basically, I was just looking at all the things he did to get to where he was, and I'm like, I'm gonna just imitate that, and then boom, like that sparked my whole progression of growing. So yeah,
well, that's good. That's really good, like groundwork. That's really nice. Your coaching though, who is it for?
Coaching, it's for both sides. I would say it's for my clients and for myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
What kind of clients?
Small business owners, those people who not necessarily just started their businesses and got their LLC and business license. Like they're a little bit farther along. They've been through some trials that they know that this is what they want to do, and even if it gets tough, they're gonna keep on going.
It's too broad, bro.
It's too broad.
Give me an example. It can be a real person, it can be a fake person, but just kind of paint a picture of a business that you've worked with. I don't care if you call them out. I don't care if you just describe the business, but give me an example of somebody who was in situation A, and in situation B through F was getting more and more challenging, and then enter business coach, and how did that help?
Okay. So I'll give you an example. I'm working with a chauffeuring company, and before that, he was a Lyft driver and Uber driver. He before he came to us, I won't say before. When he first started working with us, he went through a challenge. Basically, you need like these types of tags in order for you to be a chauffeur.
License plates.
Yes. And he didn't have the right tag, so he had to get shut down for 3 months. He could have been like, I'm calling it quits. I don't need to do this thing anymore. But no, he stuck it out. He got all his paperwork in order, and he got up and running. And literally January, February was his biggest months yet, bringing in $10,000 a month.
That's awesome. How did you find him? How did he realize in coaching was going to work for him? And then what specific steps did you work with him to help him move his business forward?
Mm-hmm. So networking is how we find most of our clients. Like I said, the BNIs, the social collectives, things of that nature, getting out in front of people. And for how I helped them, so one, I suggest any business owner, the first step for a business owner is to get a marketing company. If people don't know about you, they're not going to be able to buy from you. That's step one. And then budgeting, making sure you know what's in your bank account. Literally, we had to change his personal, so he had his whole bank account in one place. So all his personal stuff he took out of his business account. There was no division there. So we realized one day that he spent $3,000 on food. That could go right back into business. That can go towards something else. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is this company in your small group?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So explain to me what the group coaching program is for you.
So more of the format, you mean?
Well, let's describe what it is and what it offers, then you'll probably move forward from there. But give me the basic premise. That way people who are listening can determine if it's for them. It might be something that somebody listening could really benefit from.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this, Kevin. Have you ever been stuck before?
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever felt anxiety, stress from your business not functioning?
Even from my business functioning, I feel anxiety and stress.
Business functioning, right? And so those are the type of people that we help, is those people that don't know what to do, how to get it done, what are the next step. Those are the people that we want to help. And number one, they have to be open to receiving that help as well. I like to think of coaching as just another tool in your toolbox. If you was a baseball player, you wouldn't step on that, what we call it, diamond without a baseball bat. You wouldn't play football without helmet and shoulder pads. Literally, for a business owner, a business coach is another tool, just like a banker, a financial advisor, and accounting is for a business owner. You need to have these things in place for you to be successful.
I totally agree. Yeah. So, in the small group, what does the format look like?
So the format is, so we start out with a concept every single week. I won't even say every week. I would say majority of the weeks. And the format could be, a concept could be something like sales funnel. A sales funnel is when your client journey from them knowing about you to when they buy, right? Then we jump into your cash flow. Cash flow is, I'm sorry.
Whoa, bro. You're starting to drop cash funnel on me, and I love it. And you explained it, but can you give me an example?
Of cash
funnel. So think of a business.
Sales funnel or cash flow?
I'm sorry, sales funnel.
Sales funnel.
So give me an example of
a sales funnel?
Yeah, just do it.
All right. So the beginning of a sales funnel will be attention, right? This is you.
We'll use an actual company we know.
Usually that you know.
I got one.
Okay.
I'm also a little bit of a business coach. On the radio, I hear about Jeep is offering a special deal on a certain model for the month of May.
Yes.
That's the beginning of the funnel, right?
Yep. And how did you hear about it? Radio.
Boom.
Marketing.
Marketing.
Yes.
Then I go through the thought process of, do I need a Jeep? I do.
I think you do too.
Right. So then the process further, if the ad was accurate, I remember the name, which I can't. Guys, this is an actual situation. And then there's, if I know how to get a hold of the business, I do. I call them or I roll in. Again, part of the funnel, right? So how would you help a company manipulate the funnel to be more beneficial to them?
So I'll give you an example. I'm working with a organizing company right now. She goes in and organizes people's clutter and things like that. So the beginning of the sales funnel, one of the things we want to do is we're sending out mailers, right? And some people be like, mailers, that's like the worst way to go. And the reason why it is because you can't track it. So one of the things that we did to...
I'm also a hard sell on mailers. I've been hearing about it, but talk to me about it.
All right. So in order to get the attention of the people, she wants to get in people's houses, right? So we send it to certain neighborhoods that could, of course, afford her services. And on the mailer, we're going to have a QR code. And the QR code is going to lead to a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is a free or low-cost item that somebody can go and get. And now that lead magnet is going to be like the 10 tips to cleaning your house. So we know, once they download it, we're going to have their contact information. We know that they're interested in our product or service. And now we're going to email market to them later. Boom. Right? So we have each step there. So we got something out of it and we know that they're interested. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How do you... Sales funnels for another conversation.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because I'm ready to get into the weeds on this because I love talking business.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. Let's get back to the topic, which is the small group coaching that you provide. What are some other examples of monthly topics or weekly topics?
Well, cash flow will be a monthly topic. Habits will be a monthly topic. Well, yeah, a monthly topic.
Habits like what?
Habits. So have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
No.
Okay. So Atomic Habits, James Clear. If you haven't read that, I definitely suggest that you read it. And he talks about there's 4 things you need to know before you change a habit. Cues. So what starts the habit? Craving. So why do you want to do the habit? Response and reward. So for example, let's say that every time you get 10 emails, you get stressed out, right? So the 10 emails are the cue.
Notifications, yeah.
And then so the craving there is that you want to get way away from those emails that you want to deal with. So your response to that craving is you go watch TV, right? And so now you're procrastinating. You have that habit. Every time those 10 emails come, you don't do it. You go do something else that actually...
so you're avoiding the emails.
Exactly. So then it goes on to ways how you can change your habits, and that's one of the biggest ways to change your habits is by changing your environment. They did a study in Vietnam, soldiers in, I don't know what World War it was, but they went over to Vietnam and they found out that the Vietnam soldiers were, they did cocaine. And they thought that once the Vietnam soldiers came back, they'll still be doing cocaine. But no, it was because of the stress of the environment, the other soldiers that was doing the cocaine and things like that is what made them actually do it. So when they got back to the United States, most of them actually dropped that habit.
That's called state-dependent learning, I think. I learned about that in psychology.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're in the Vietnam War... Mm-hmm. and you're under stressors and people around you have access and people feel better doing this habit, you would follow suit because it probably sucked really bad. But when you came home to your normal life, you didn't necessarily hit the same trigger of stress. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So how does that, you're helping the clients determine their habits, good and bad? Is that how part of the coaching works?
Yes, that's part of it. Yeah, it goes into the mindset piece of, because as a business owner, you need to have good habits. Like, for instance, one of the things that we preach at Crystal Clear is we take you from working in your business to working on your business. So many times the business owner goes and does their craft, electrician, plumber, whatever it is. They do their business stuff, but then they don't work on their business in order for it to grow. So now you have to blocking time and actually being disciplined enough to work on your business should be a habit in itself, right?
Yeah.
And the better you are working on your business, then you'll actually see your business grow.
It compounds like 20x. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to calculate 20x, but it, like 2 hours now will pay 20 or so hours or more about a month and a half or 2 months, or even maybe a year. But when you compound that week in, month in, really it adds to scale. Your business will scale. I've seen this in my own. I spent a year and a half working on a lot of the fundamentals of my business. Yeah. At year 9, and at year 11, we 2x'd, man. Yeah. So a year of work 2x'd what took a decade.
Let me ask you this though: while you were doing year 9, were you thinking to yourself, why is this thing not working? Or you already seen results beforehand?
We had already seen great results, but we'd plateaued. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we plateaued at COVID. So it was a forced mindset shift because I had a mass resignation, lost my entire workforce, had to start over. Wow. The difficulties of starting over were amplified by the lack of work I did on the fundamentals in the first 5 or 6 years. So I put a year to year and a half or so into genuinely working. I was working with a business coach. Yeah. And I put an enormous amount of work in what I call reinforcing the launch pad for my rocket. Okay, before it was a solid rocket flying the way it flew. But due to all the system failures, it no longer exists. So now I'm back to building just the launch pad. Yeah. Before the tower, before the command center, before the spaceship. So I spent a year and a half, and we 2x'd our company in year 11. Mm-hmm. Holy moly, man, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. And then for some reason, the magic behind working on your business instead of in your business, the scaling hasn't slowed down yet.
That's awesome.
So much so, I'll be honest, so much so in this month, I've had to come to the realization that this summer I can't work on my company because I didn't foresee the scale continuing, and I didn't prep by hiring or even creating the positions for the right people to handle the growth that we're experiencing now. So now I'm scrambling in my off time to build and work on the business, but I still have to work in the business right now, which actually breaks my new heart.
Yeah.
Because my new heart works on the business. But just to keep the ball moving forward efficiently, I actually have to be involved almost 6 hours or 5 hours a day. Whereas before I was 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day. But that's because I worked on fundamentals for a whole year. A lot of pieces have to come into play. Good coaching, good organization, solid focus time and time blocking, massive recruitment of top talent, understanding the leadership skills to manage that top talent. And now we're at a position where we're now mentoring just leaders.
Yeah.
And instead of interviewing employees, we're onboarding whole companies. So we're acquiring companies or entire workforces. And I didn't see that scale coming in October, November, December of last year. Oh, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But the growth is so positive and so wonderful. I've been caught short and I have to work, which sucks. I'm not actually painting houses, but I'm doing all of the sales. And I should have, but I could have built a sales team, but no one could have predicted what this spring would have brought. So it's wonderful. So I get what you're saying on all those notes, right? We talked about marketing. So I'm sure you guys talk about onboarding. I'm sure you talk about recruitment of team members. And how about determining if you're in a position to hire team members?
Yes. So like I said, that jumps into the cash flow. And that's basically how much money that is going in and out of your business. But it's mostly the projections that we look at. So we put out all your estimated payment dates, and we throw in all your expenses, and then we have a little sheet that we can implement. Let's say an employee is going to be $60,000 a year. We can input those things into the cash flow, and we can see on there, like, maybe we got to make a little bit more money first before we can bring on something else, or it's going to be a detriment to the company. Right. And then you're treading water, and now you're fighting to stay above, or you got to fire the person that you want to bring on, right? So it's all about looking towards the future.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. I like to look at business like gambling, right? Like you're more of my odds don't look good. I might hold back, and I'm a little bit crazier. I'll be like, I got to promote this guy. He's going to be expensive. I'm going to lose his production because now he's overhead. How do I accommodate that in my cash flow? But then I'm like, well, if I want to get back to working on my business, I need to hire this guy to handle my jobs.
Yes.
Can't afford them, but I'm going to hedge it. We got enough cash in the bank to handle it. If we stopped working now, we could survive 4 or 5 months. But ideally, he will amplify my business in a way that we grow. So like I like to hedge and gamble, but I didn't know to gamble back in December and November on the economy shift. And again, it's not necessarily an economy shift. There's also some of my top competitors in the region are struggling or closing, which is hard to predict if you don't have that data.
Yeah.
So,
how big does culture affect your business?
Well, culture is crucial, and we have an established culture that is unwritten and unofficial, but ingrained.
Yeah.
My drill sergeant experience. I wasn't a drill sergeant, but I was an instructor of soldiers, whether it was PT. I usually say drill sergeant to create the image of it. You would go to basic training, but then you would come to your unit and you think you're done with basic training and you're not. You got to face somebody like me who teaches you how we truly do work. So I know how to set a standard. I know how to enforce a standard. And I know how to teach leaders to enforce that standard and to validate that it's being met. So quality control. The leadership teams that I have, all the foremen and the project manager and the operations manager, they've all dealt with me and my mood or my criteria of success and my expectations Not that I come across as mean, but I do come across as direct and clear.
Yeah.
So if the standards are this way, they're communicated directly and clearly. If you're not meeting the standards, you're going to be peered out by your team, by the operations manager, or ultimately by me in the end, which has only happened like twice in 13 years, where I had to step down and be like, hey, we're done. Normally they know.
Yeah.
But the culture of polite customer service, overtly intensive communications, and high quality deliverable services is met, or you don't get to be on the team.
Yeah.
You can't be in my army if you're not meeting those criteria. So the culture builds on itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Culture is definitely really big.
I'll also tell you, I've carved out the value words that are assigned to my culture. Cleanliness.
Okay.
Professionalism, that's a big word. There's a lot of pieces underneath professionalism. I use the word deliverable as one of our value words. Clear and direct is one of our value words. I make it a purpose, intentfully, to use the value words that reflect our culture in daily conversations with my leadership and even sometimes with frontline staff. I don't really deal with frontline staff much, and that's kind of a leadership flaw in mine, and I'm having a hard time breaking that egg. But frontline and leadership teams hear the value words regularly, and ideally are using it with their staff.
So it's just trickling down. That's awesome.
That's what I try for.
Yeah.
With intention. Yeah.
Like in culture, like just to paint a picture of culture, they did a little study, and they had 3 actors go into a room, and then they started sending in random people into a room. And whenever a beep happened, so they had a little button and it beeped, and the actors stood up. The other random people in the room, they didn't know what was going on. They stood up too, right? And they kept doing this. So more and more people came in, and they kept doing the beeps, people standing up, people sitting down, people standing up, people sitting down. And then eventually they took out the actors, right? And then they still sending in more people. And then guess what? Guess what happens? The beep happens, people standing up.
Rotated through.
Yeah. So that's just an idea of what culture can do. Even though you might not know exactly why you're doing the thing that you're doing, it will still last there if it is ingrained in the people. So
there's also the concept of lead by example.
Big one.
And I go both ways on that, right? So I don't paint.
You don't paint.
I haven't painted in years, so it's hard to lead by example. I'm within 5 minutes of on time, 98% of the time. Maybe a little early, maybe a little late. The crews, 10 to 15 minutes a little early, a little late. It's tolerable, but they're always in a window. They're always consistently showing up. So it's leading by example or clearly setting the criteria of success. Like you've got to actually communicate to them or follow up with them. Say, I'm going to be there at 8:30. Oh, okay, so I better be there at 8:30 also. True. Traffic happens, flat tires happen, breakdowns happen. That's where the clear and direct communication comes in. It's, again, part of our values, part of our culture, right? Both with me or the operations manager and or the client. So it's a lot of hand-holding, but that's what sets our culture above, ideally, our competition. And it should change the experience when hiring us versus another company.
Quality. That's what I'm hearing from equality.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love that. Well, I kind of have a good grasp on what the small group coaching does. Let's talk about why are you a business coach? What, besides falling into it? Again, I'm going to dig deep on this because I have a general understanding that it's not just a job. Okay, so try to elaborate on really why you're doing it.
It's gonna sound like what everybody says. They want to help, they want to serve, but I see business coaching as an opportunity to build myself as well. Like I said, it's a little bit selfish and a little bit for them as well, and that's the selfish part about it.
Hold on, it's not selfish.
You don't think so?
No, you have a desire.
Yeah.
If you're hungry,
Mm-hmm.
the desire is to eat. If you're thirsty, the desire is to drink food.
Mm-hmm.
People move best when they have incentive.
That's true.
Incentive is a desire. And if you choose to do one thing versus another, you didn't have a desire to do another.
Mm.
You didn't have to do another. Does that make sense? So it's not necessarily selfish. It might be self-serving.
Yeah.
But if serving others makes you feel good,
Yeah.
that's self-serving. That's also selfish. But it's not really. You just have a desire to help people and you feel good about it. So try not to use... There's a mindset shift, right? Don't use the word selfish.
It's out of my mind now. It's out of my mind now.
Right.
So I see it as a way to self-improve myself, make myself sharper. Like, I guess within myself, I have a goal of being a world changer, inspiring people to do better. I believe that the world doesn't have to be as it is right now. There's so many people that, we was just at Rotary this morning. One of Rotary, like, they do a whole lot of things, like they want to eradicate polio, bring clean water to other nations, educate people in third world countries. But one of their values that I really subscribe to is peace.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like peace is obtainable? Honestly.
No.
No. Why not?
Because there's incentive.
There's incentive. Elaborate a little bit more on that.
I want to crush every single painting company in this region because I want to make as much money as possible.
Okay.
There's no peace in that. There's.
You don't feel like you doing good helps other people do good as well? Because
if I could be so cocky, I would love to assimilate their companies into mine, and they can do well under our label.
Mm-hmm.
That's not peace.
Mm.
I have the incentive to drive hard. I mean, I'm not going to crush all the painting companies in the region.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. But if you're talking about peace on the full scale,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like humans are mostly primal savages. If we have the opportunity to get more, we're going to try and get more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really going to let you tell me I can't have more.
Yeah.
And that's partly genetically bred into me being an American,
Mm-hmm.
Because we came up as an opportunistic country. We were like, hey, wherever we're from sucks.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ride a boat and we're going to populate this land, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the American nature of go get it,
Literally, yes.
Right. And nothing can hold me back from what I want to build within reason. That's opportunistic.
Mm-hmm. I don't see that being a negative to peace, though. I just don't, because capitalism, like, we know that competition is good to an extent. It keeps everybody working hard. It makes sure that people are doing the right things, right? If you have a group A that's doing bad, or they have a sucky product, somebody else is going to come up and fix those suckiness of product A, and then that'll breed competition, and they're going to battle it out, and they're going to make improvements along the way. I'm talking about peace in a sense of, and I'm still trying to figure out, but in a sense that everyone has. And I'm not talking socialism and communism. I'm talking about just, I wish I could remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs right now, but in order for somebody to reach their full potential, they have to have their basic needs met for the most part. They need to have
shelter, food, water, clothing, and somewhere in there becomes affiliation, right? It's a sense of joining and being a part of a tribe.
Yep.
And it gets higher and higher until you get to enlightenment.
Boom.
Right.
And if we can at least start everybody to the point where they're not in the, I need to, if you are hungry, you're not going to care about anything else besides trying to find food. But imagine that person in this, I'll even go to the black community in itself. I guess we can go there. Is it possible?
Go.
Like, so right now, and I do believe partly is on us as a community as in itself, but I think we can get out of it if we just realize what is around us. But we are so stuck in this low level of, I don't even know what I want to call it. We're just in a low level. But once we get out of that into the next level, we will be able to start creating and doing things that would be, should I use the word beneficial to society? I don't know if that's, you know what I'm trying to say?
I'm getting a little confused.
We're thinking about the things that don't necessarily matter, and by thinking about the things, and this is not all black people, I'm just talking
It's all
general.
people, man.
Yeah. Shoes.
Hold on. When you're not making enough money
Mm-hmm.
and you can afford to buy something nice
Yes.
that you worked hard for, you feel like you deserve it.
Mm.
There comes a tipping point when you realize you have enough stuff, then your money starts to stack.
Mm-hmm.
Another tipping point happens when you've got so much money, you're now cheap and you won't spend it.
Mm-hmm. And that's greed.
No, I don't think it's greed. I think it's just a transitional point.
Okay.
So there was a time I know for sure where I would spend money on a watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to spend $500 on a watch when my paycheck was $700. Whoa, man, like that's dumb. But not having enough money made me want
More.
Mm-hmm. Then I got stable money, and the wanting more almost had inertia and stayed with me.
Yes.
But then at some point the inertia fell off, and then you make enough money that all of a sudden you're not spending it. But the level's different for every person. It's a state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how that correlates to peace, but the idea of peace is so massively complicated.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick just peace in Virginia, you could do 6 lifetimes trying to get just peace in Virginia.
It's a people thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what humans are complicated. And I think that's another thing why I believe in God so much, because I feel like his values on how, if you read the Word of God, on how he wants things, like, of course, love your neighbor, forgive if anything happens, things of those lines. If we adopt those values and follow them to a T, I believe that we could have peace. But it's all a mindset thing.
You mean we, everybody?
Every single body. Every single body.
That's a big ask, man. That's hard.
And it starts small. Well, yes, it is a big ask, but I do think it's possible. Because if let's say that we go to war. It doesn't matter the country. We go to war. Do you feel like the people at the lower levels, not the people who are government officials, but the people at the lower level, if you're not necessarily fighting for anything, would they want to go to war? And you are a military man yourself.
Right. And I observed a lot of this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the desire.
Yes.
You're not tracking in a good direction in your life. The military offers stability and consistency and structure.
Mm-hmm. Benefits.
That's even better.
Mm-hmm.
I can even get benefits, and I can get paid to go do literally a tour and be provided these things for my time. I will sacrifice my body, my mind, and my will and my life for my country. Fortunately, they compensate me for it. Very little, but I'm still compensated for a living.
Yes.
Right? The trade-off is if there's a conflict in that time frame, I will have to go fight for the cause.
Yes.
Based on the president's orders.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is.
Yes.
Now, if I meet somebody while I'm in the military, and I'm in for 4 years, and I meet her in year 2, and she gets pregnant in year 3, and we have a 1-year-old at year 4, what are the odds of me re-enlisting?
Low.
No, they're way higher.
Because, okay, elaborate on
I'm
that.
hooked into the benefits. I'm hooked into the stability, structure, and all that stuff. So now, re-enlisting fulfills my desire
to provide for your family.
To consistently provide for my family. There is a cost to it, but luckily, it's still meeting my desire. Or it might not meet my desire. It might actually suck really bad, and it usually does.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you got 8 years in, well, you're only 12 years from retirement.
Yeah. So then let's bring that back to what we were talking about with the Maslow hierarchy of needs then. The reason why you're doing it is because you feel like you're not able to provide for yourself in the first place. So if you had the money to provide for yourself doing something else, you wouldn't join the military in a sense.
Yes.
And so would you say that if we eliminated the bottom row where people are able to provide for them, as in housing, food, water, shelter, the basic needs, what's your thoughts on that? Without it looking like communism or socialism.
Right. So like if everybody had their basic needs met,
mm-hmm.
those needs would be established. You're talking about communism, but basically your basic needs are set at a livable wage or sustainment.
Mm-hmm.
The American culture is they want more.
And that's the problem right there, is that like how can you make it to the point where you can have people still want to where they can still have more if they wanted more. I think that's the problem with communism. You shouldn't cap people.
Right.
Like if I want a gigantic house, I should be able to go out and be able to get that gigantic house or fly first class. But I'm just saying that everybody starts at a same level, but they have the ability to have more. Like they have everything that they need, but they have the ability to have more if they want more. And I don't know how you can do that, but I think that will be a starting point.
I feel like you're talking about a giant machine like Tony Robbins, right? He's made an entire career of helping people change their mindset, and probably millions of people moved.
Mm-hmm.
They have been moved to be better. They've been moved to take chances within their bandwidth. They've been moved to get organized and to build a business or to be successful in their career. Some of them, I think, walk on fire and crazy mindset stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about that population. Tony Robbins taps into a certain mindset that can be moved.
Mm-hmm.
There are other mindsets that are burdened by the choices. They're burdened by how they came up.
Yeah.
They're burdened by, all the things that socioeconomic status, what family they were born into, and what neighborhood they chose to live in.
I that doesn't matter to me. As in, like, I don't think that should be your crutch. I think, especially America.
I get it.
Yeah. You have the ability to move up. That's why our country is so great. There's people who, they have caste systems. Actually, do they still have caste systems in India where, like, literally you're born into a certain family? If you're rich forever. If you're poor, you're going to be poor forever. But here in America, you dictate your own life, which is
I
awesome.
agree. So let's tie this back around to how you want to change the world. And I wanted to ask you, when you said that, is the world your immediate community? Is the world just your family? Is the world your extended family? Because in my mind, I want to command my economy.
Mm-hmm.
But my economy is just what I can touch.
Yeah.
And it's impacted by a few things outside of what I can touch or manipulate.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, economy is just me.
Yeah.
Right? So your world that you want to change, you can start family, you can start extended family, then you can kind of go to community, then you can go to bigger community or region.
Yeah.
What is your vision for changing the world?
On how I'm going to do it, or am I talking about the world itself? Which one are you asking?
I'm asking both, I guess.
I will say I want to change the world itself.
Another big ass, bro. Big ass.
Impact the world itself. I won't say change the world. Impact the world itself. Because if you can do anything you want, and I believe that you can do anything that you want, or you can achieve anything that you want, why not go big? What's the point of going small if you want to achieve something? And I guess it's going to be a little crazy one. I want to leave an impact. I want to know that my life actually meant something on some Martin Luther King kind of stuff, right? I want to be remembered because I did something great.
And that starts with coaching?
And that starts with coaching. I got to learn. I view life like a little bit like a video game. I don't know if you play video games before, but you create your character, and when you first start out in the video game, your character sucks. They have no skills, they have no weapons, they have no nothing. Mm-hmm. And as you start playing the game, you find a sword here and there, you get a skill, you get more health, you get more of everything. And I feel like it's the same thing with you as a person. You have to go out and get the experience points of public speaking to actually be good at public speaking. You need to get the financial mindset in order for you to be good at handling money. You need to build the relationship so that you can have a good amount of people that you can call on, right? And as you as a character, you go out and build yourself, and you just find out what you want to need, what you need in order to achieve that thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
if I could help sort of explain this,
Mm-hmm.
the way that you're starting to quote unquote change the world
Mm-hmm.
is you are impacting people in their economy.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches will help teams win a championship.
Yes.
Coaches will help organize a team to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches will help a team come together to be a better team.
Yes.
They can even coach Super Bowl style. Different coaches can coach at that level.
Mm-hmm.
You're scratching the surface at changing the world by coaching / impacting the lives of these business owners.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like the way that sounds.
Yeah. No, you took the words out of my mouth.
That's perfect, man. I was picking up kind of like that. So you have this passion. The desire is to change the world. Your current reach is a few local business owners.
Mm-hmm.
The fulfillment you get is watching them be empowered for improvement.
Yes.
Which is fueling your energy for the next step.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really good.
You hit the nail on the head for me. Thank you.
I was piecing it together, man. Like it got a little wild there with changing the world, because I'm like, bro, the world's big.
Yeah.
And then even my county's big, and trying to change. Relationships are complicated. People are complicated. Entities are complicated. Board of directors are complicated. People with incentive or desires that don't match yours are complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You can make your mark by being an influence and a positive mentor to help people find their own way to improvement.
Yes.
That's so good, man.
Yes. Yes. On a grand scale.
And would you call that your burning why?
I will say yes.
Wow.
I will say that.
That's a really good one, man. That's a really good one. You're using coaching to fill your cup for the initial feelings, and your world will just expand
eventually
over time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. So you're a business coach with Crystal Clear Business.
Yep.
As am I. And how would people know that they're the right client for your coaching?
How would they know that they are the right client for my coaching?
I know these conversations can get deep and long, and it's easy to get brain fog. Okay, bro. So I think the next thing you would say would be there'd be like a consultation.
Yeah, of course there'll be of course that's always part of the stuff. Yeah, there'll be a consultation, but I just want to put in there though that any person is good for coaching. It doesn't matter where you are in your business. If you know that you need help with something, go to somebody who has the answers. And a business coach, crystal clear business, come see us. We have the answers that can help you. Of course, we'll go through the consultation process to see what are the things you need help with, and we can give you some free tips on what can help you right in that moment if you don't decide to work with us. But go look for answers. Nobody knows everything. People around, that's why we're here, is to help each other and serve each other and give each other advice on what should be done. Simple.
One of my coaching tenets,
Mm-hmm.
part of the value words or whatever it would be, part of the culture of how I coach is you already know the answers. You know your industry. If I'm working with a dry cleaning company, I don't know anything about dry cleaning, but you do as the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, I help the client just get organized with the answer they already have. And then I provide accountability to ask them the question a week or two later. Did you fill out your cash flow analysis?
Mm-hmm.
Did you contact that marketing expert? Did you check the references on the people that you're interviewing?
Mm-hmm.
The coach is the accountability that doesn't let you always get away with not doing the non-sexy work in your business.
Yeah. There's a lot of the non-sexy work. There's a majority of the non-sexy work.
But it's weird how the non-sexy work actually makes you all the money 2 years later.
Literally look at a championship football team. Nobody looks and goes watch it practice, right? They don't watch the hard, you got to make sure you practice it 10 times before you get it right. No, they just see the trophy, the game day, and everything, right? It all comes later.
They're missing the play development. They're missing the recruitment of the right players and the positioning of the right players, testing the right players. It really is like a team. And that's a really good analysis of not just how to coaches football, but how does a coach find the defensive coach, special teams coach, offensive coach?
Wow, that could be a whole topic in itself.
Right, but it's the same thing. You got to build that leadership team, and that all hinges on culture. I really like this. A couple final questions about how long would a client stay with a coach?
As long as they need, I would say. There's no end point. Would you, if you had the best financial advisor in the world, would you stop using them after a certain point, or you always want them to keep making you more money?
I would definitely stay with the financial advisor.
Exactly.
That's really good. All right, good, man. Well, what questions have I not asked? What have we not covered that you thought we would have hit at this point?
Actually, we covered everything.
Okay.
Yeah. What is your why? If you want to go there, that's up to you, though. I don't want to.
Well, we were discussing this. That's a good punch you're pulling there, Mario. Because I struggle with my why really bad. I've tried to develop it over the last few months because I was asked by this shaman of business that I met in Hawaii back in November, and he was like, he looked at some of my information, my stats, my business, how long I've been open, and he was like, Kevin, it doesn't say in here why you work so hard. It doesn't say why you want to do this. Spend a day or two thinking about your why and come back to me. Man, what an insightfully terrible thing to reflect on, because if you're not ready for that, it's hard. And what I came up with, and I'll talk about two. One will be the coaching why, and one will be the business or the painting why, Brackens Painting. Brackens Painting is legacy for me. I'm fourth generation. So I'm here to make my grandfather proud, his uncle proud, and my dad proud.
Sounds like you're doing a great job.
Thank you. So I know my dad's proud. I know my grandfather was proud before he passed away. And I've used information that has been passed down to me over the years, even how to be a painter, that I got from them. So I am fulfilling a legacy path. That can be the heaviest or the lightest in my whys, right? It can be either or. Like the game you were talking about, I see it as a game. And we all can get addicted to games on our phones or on the TV. I am truly addicted to my business and catching wins. I don't even pay attention to the losses. Oh, we didn't get a job. I forgot about the jobs we haven't gotten because I know we're going to win at the jobs we did. And so I'm fulfilling an addiction, and then this dude would say, but why? And I want to provide for my family. I want to have some nice things. And I want to consume at will. Meaning, if I want to go to Bermuda, let's go to Bermuda.
Yes.
If I want to upgrade the pickup truck from what I have to a nicer version, I want to believe that I can. And I can only believe that if I'm financially responsible enough to make that path happen, and that usually comes from success. Further, burning why is I have a small army of families I provide for. So I grind hard to keep them employed, happy, and I want them to feel successful and fulfilled in what they do. That is meaningful to me.
Yes.
It's part of that culture. And I try to be kind to everybody because that's paying back also. I get that in return, just like working on my business.
Yeah.
I come across as an intense, abrasive jerk a lot of times, but I'm never out to hurt anybody.
Not malicious.
Yeah. So my burning whys for the painting, I'd say, fall on those. Supporting the people that support me. And I mean really supporting them. The majority of my business coaching that I provide goes to internal companies that are inside my company. I literally help them be more and more successful. And they stick with me, I think, because of that.
You have a vested interest in their well-being. Yes.
Totally. And if I amplify their well-being, they don't even realize how happy they are until they try to go somewhere else.
And then they come right back if they do.
Most of the time, we haven't had that happen because they don't leave, which is good. I think they also realize that we're a mature and polite company to work for. Now, the burning why for why I'm a business coach. I've received some exceptional business coaching from 4 different coaches in 4 different platforms. Including Crystel. I consider her one of my coaches.
Yes, yes.
Because I could ask her questions and she can give me answers. I have consumed the tasks that the coaches have asked me to do as it reflects in particular in the painting company. So quickly that I've become successful. I mean, to 2x my company in a year and a half of coaching that's big.
Yeah.
It really is. I also had coaches for specialized things like government contracts. So a specific coach who's familiar with government contracts coached me into a frame of mind that government contracts were not for me.
That's still a good coach.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is getting more and more down a path I don't want to go down. So that was a great coaching scenario too. But with all the coaching experience I've gotten and my disciplined approach to applying the practices that they're telling me to do, marketing, onboarding, recruiting, staff, all that sort of stuff, I've retained it and I've seen success in it, and I want to give it to others. I see others struggling with sales. I see people struggling finding staff. I see people, we've been open 7 days a week, but now we're going to close on Sundays. Okay. Questionable, Then that Sunday turns into a Monday. Sunday and Monday. Oh, we're going to close Sunday and Monday. We use Monday to get ready for the week, but we'll be there to service you Tuesday through Saturday. And it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, keeps going down.
Yeah, and that scares me. And if I had 10 conversations with that person and I could help them turn their business around, I'm also changing the world.
Yes, yes.
And I don't have that as I don't want to sound this wrong, but like an ego fuel. I've been changing the world with my club, Bros and Bras.
Mm-hmm.
I brought people together.
Yes.
We've had weddings that have happened because of Bros and Bras. It blows my mind. I'm not going to say it had, but if you're listening, I'm going to take some credit. But we've had weddings, we've had divorces, we've had friends, lifelong friends and family come together. That changed that world. I brought dozens and dozens of people together. If you're like us, we are culture development people.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at our Myers-Briggs or our DISC, you'll see that we are high-functioning, leader of leaders, cultural making individuals. And my version of changing the world is I have a gift where I can over-explain how you can fix your business if you do the work. So my burning why is I feel a calling that is not necessarily from a higher power, but my calling is from what my entire life has allowed me to learn all the way from 7th grade leadership camp, which I've traced it all the way back to then. That's the
point in time you knew.
That's the point when I changed and I saw things differently. Okay? All the way back to there to now. Somehow I have a way to communicate certain kinds of content that will ideally change people's lives through their business. Whew, that was heavy.
Yeah.
So my burning why for business is a lot softer and juicier for business coaching than it is for painting. Painting success is more of an addiction.
Okay. A win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up. So I think next we need to talk about how do you get a hold of Mario Wisdom and Crystal Clear Business, besides the awesome commercial that comes up after this?
Go to our website, crystalclearbusiness.com. It's Crystal spelled with an E. So, and you can email me at Mario at crystalclearbusiness.com. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Mario Wisdom. Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. The Crystal has been on this podcast about 15 to 20 podcasts ago. We talked about pitch night, and we talked about how does somebody know when they're a business coach, which that actual conversation was the beginning of my journey. I had her on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I wanted to record the conversation with a business coach that I knew personally. How does one know? How does one go down that path? I mean, I literally set it up for me to come on board with her down the road.
Yeah. You just didn't know it yet, or you already know it?
I was shopping. I was shopping.
You just didn't know yet.
No, I was shopping and like I was shopping for a Jeep. What kind of tires do I want on a Jeep? What's the right model? Do I want the one with the fancy inside or the not fancy? You know, like
it got a sunroof.
Yeah. So I was like, does Crystal have a sunroof? You know, and I loved all the things that she had. She's really good at pitching herself and selling the concept of Crystal Clear Business.
Yeah. She's awesome. I wouldn't pick anybody else to work with, to be honest. She's a light in herself.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So it's Mario at crystalclearbusiness.com. That's Crystal spelled with an E. We know it's complicated, but that's the way it is, the way it's always been. So, any other questions, bud?
No. Thank you for having me, Kev. I really appreciate it. This is my first time on a podcast, and yeah, I'm just loving it.
I think we ironed out the content real well, and we brought it all the way around to where it needed to be.
Yep.
It's a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Mario. In a second, I'll shake your hand. Let me shut down all these systems. Hello, I'm Kevin Brackens. I'm one of the coaches with Crystal Clear Business, and I'd like to invite you to schedule a free coaching session. I look forward to chatting with you about your business plans and offering the accountability we all need to achieve business success and freedom. As a business owner myself, I understand the challenges, time commitments, and the fear of the unknown. Coaching is about helping you develop a success-driven mindset and, equally important, a systems-dependent business. Whether it's getting started with a new product or service line, or growing your existing business through formalized systems, I can help get you there. To find out more about my services and to schedule a complimentary coaching session, go to crystalclearbusiness.com.